Hi, I'm here with Mark. This is my boyfriend, and I'm gonna do nutritional counseling on him. So I made, how do I flip this? Oh, here. So I made a little PowerPoint to go over with him on the assessment. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right.
Alrighty.
All right, so the reason why I chose to do nutritional counseling on Mark was because he has a history of periodontal disease. He has a ketogenic diet. He stated he likes to eat chips, candy, cookies, and soda in the screening questionnaire. He has type 1 diabetes, and I completed the screening questionnaire with him in person, and I gave him clearly written detailed instructions on how to fill out the 3-day food diary, which included the oral health care. And then here is the instructions on what I gave him. Okay, so according to your Choose My Plate recommendations, for your age, height, and weight, your daily diet should consist of 2 cups of fruit, 3 cups of vegetables, 8 ounces of grains, 3 cups of dairy, 6.5 ounces of protein, and 6 teaspoons of fats, oils, and sweets sparingly. Okay? All right. So then moving on to the assessment of your food diary. You completed the 3-day food diary, which included 1 weekend day. So for all 3 days, you were short fruits, vegetables, grain, and dairy. You were over on protein, fats, oils, and sweets, mostly due because you do drink soda and eat candy frequently. However, you did exercise every day, and you only brushed your teeth in the morning during all 3 days. Okay, so day 1. So here's your total of the day. So you had 0 cups of fruit, 0 cups of vegetables, 6.84 ounces of grains, 2 cups of dairy, 4 ounces of protein, and 20 teaspoons of sweets. So when I look at your excesses and shortages, you were short 2 cups of fruit, short 3 cups of vegetables, short 1.16 ounces of grains, short 1 cup of dairy, short 2.5 ounces of protein, and you were over sweets by 14 teaspoons. Day 2.
This is even worse.
So day 2, your total was 1 cup of fruit, 2 cups of vegetables, 5 ounces of grains, 1 cup of dairy, 12 ounces of protein, and 23 teaspoons of sweets. So you were short a cup of fruit, short a cup of vegetables, short 3 ounces of grains, short 2 cups of dairy. You were over protein by 5.5 ounces, and you were over sweets by 17 teaspoons. Okay, and then the day 3. So you had 1 cup of fruit, 2 cups of vegetables, 2 ounces of grains, 1 cup of dairy, 12 ounces of protein, and 13 teaspoons of sweets. So you were short 1 cup of fruit, short 1 cup of vegetables, short 6 ounces of grains, short 2 cups of dairy, over on protein by 5.5 ounces, and over sweets by 7 teaspoons. So sweets were not that bad that day.
Not as bad.
Not as bad. When I did the caries risk assessment with you, so you did have 1 disease indicator due to you did have new cavities or lesions. And I kind of based that off of your last appointment in October because Dr. Rooney did notice that you had a few dental caries on your posterior teeth that were seen radiographically. Your biological or environmental factors, you did have 3. They were heavy plaque on teeth, and I just made a note that you did have a high plaque control record score, like the red dye that we put on your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You did have a high score at past appointments. You have frequent snacking due to being diabetic and sugar being low, and you do have deep pits and fissures. However, you do have 3 protective factors, and those were fluoridated water that you drink, like when you drink water out of the faucet, that there's fluoride in the water. You have fluoride toothpaste once a day, and you have normal salivary function. But due to the 1 disease indicator, you are categorized as high risk for cavities.
Okay.
So the 5 food groups. The 5 food groups are important for growth, development, and maintenance for our bodies. These can be further broken down into 2 categories, such as there's cariogenic foods and those are foods that cause cavities. So those would include foods like fermentable carbs, and these that would be cookies, pop, bread, chips, and crackers. Or there is non-carcinogenic foods. They do not cause cavities, such as fats and proteins, so like cheese, meat, and apples. Understanding the characteristics of food groups can aid in preventing negative outcomes of the oral cavity and overall health. Being able to balance your intake of every group through the week will ensure you get the adequate vitamins and minerals needed for proper breakdown of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats during digestion to receive energy needed for body functions and repair. Okay, so let's start with dairy. So you were short all 3 days on dairy. Incorporating dairy is important for absorption of vitamin D and calcium, which are good for mineralization of bones, teeth, and formation of red blood cells. An inadequate amount of these nutrients may increase the risk of osteoporosis and periodontal disease. Good sources for dairy products include low-fat milk and yogurt to reduce the amount of fats consumed with dairy products. And then for protein, so you were 2 out of 3 days you were over, and the other day you were short. Protein is important for rebuilding and maintenance of healthy tissue and immune response. Protein is necessary to consume for the absorption of iron and B vitamins. An abundance of protein can result in excess fat storage that can lead to obesity. So that is why it is important to maintain a balance each week.
All right.
Or
well,
each day of the week.
I'm a little far from obese yet, but
right.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, so with grains, so you were short all 3 days on grains. Excess amount is stored as fat. It's one good thing to keep in mind. Over time, this can result in fat storage, which can lead to obesity if there is not enough physical activity. So it's a good thing. That's why we want you to have, plenty of physical activity each day. Carbohydrates are the body's main source of energy, and consumption is necessary for the protection of protein. If there is a shortage on carbs, protein will be broken down for energy, which we do not want. Half of grains consumed in our diet should be whole grains. Whole grains are great sources for fiber, B vitamins, E vitamins, and minerals. Okay, so for fruits and vegetables, you were short all 3 days. Fruits and vegetables are great sources for vitamins and minerals. They reduce the chances of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and oral cancer. I don't know if you knew that or not, so that's why I threw that in there.
You wouldn't want type 2
Yeah,
diabetes.
you don't want type 2 diabetes too.
Both of them.
Not receiving enough vitamin C could lead to changes in the oral cavity, such as a lack of vitamin C can lead to scurvy, which causes swelling and bleeding of the gums and even tooth loss. Fibrous sources increase salivary activity, which aid in cleaning the mouth from carcinogenic foods. Good sources of vegetables are green leafy greens because they contain A, E, and K vitamins. Broccoli contains A and C vitamins, and oranges contain B and C vitamins. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this in. Water. So the recommended amount of water for men is 15 to 16 cups a day. Your diary does not reflect that you drink enough water. Xerostomia, or dry mouth, is reduction of salivary gland function that can result from medications or inadequate water intake. Xerostomia can lead to tooth decay because not enough saliva is being produced to lubricate the oral cavity. And the reason why saliva is important is because it cleans the mouth of food debris and contains calcium, phosphates, and other minerals that aid in the remineralization of teeth. Okay. So, your fermentable carb and acid exposure. When you consume a fermentable carb, the pH level drops in your mouth to 5.5 or less once the bacteria metabolize the fermentable carb. The natural state of your mouth should be 7, which is basic. Saliva helps raise the pH level after exposure, so it can take 20 minutes for acidic drinks and 40 minutes for foods for your pH to go back to where it needs to be. We want minimal drops of oral pH because the tooth becomes susceptible to tooth demineralization when the pH drops. Tooth demineralization is a loss of calcium and phosphates from the tooth, which leads to cavities. Karyostatic foods neutralize the pH of the mouth when eaten with fermentable carbs. So that includes nuts, dairy, meat, and apples. And another good example that I can think of off the top of my head, so when you eat pizza, so the crust is what is the carcinogenic, that's what sticks to your teeth. But however, the cheese neutralizes all that. So it's like you know, like those kinds of foods, like, I don't know what's the word I'm trying to say, like, it just equals out in a way, I guess.
I should eat pizza instead of toast.
Well, in a way.
You're telling me to eat pizza. It's alright.
So,
I'm just kidding.
moving on to oral health. Eating the proper nutrients improves the health of your oral cavity and prevents periodontal disease. Periodontal disease is a chronic inflammatory and infectious disease that can result in the loss of connective tissues, bone, and teeth. Nutrients are needed by the cells of tissue for the cells to continue to renew. Poor nutrition can lead to adverse effects on the teeth and gums, which increase the risk of periodontal disease. To prevent deficiencies and disease, provide your body with the proper nutrients it needs to repair and develop. Okay, so here's the 3 goals that I implemented for you, or that I'm going to suggest to you. So the first goal is to increase grain intakes. You were short all 3 days. You need 8 ounces of grain a day, but you should not exceed that number. I would also just suggest trying to eat more whole grains. At least half of the grains we consume should be a whole grain. The second goal is to increase fruit and vegetable intake. All 3 days you were short both. You need to be consuming 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of vegetables a day. And the last goal is to brush and or rinse with fluoride after consuming sweets. Maybe try to do it at night before bedtime and then gradually increase to whenever you, like when your sugar gets low and you need to drink a pop or eat, you know, Skittles, maybe try to like rinse afterwards.
Yeah.
Because you consumed a lot more than the recommended 6 teaspoons of sweets. Because you are diabetic, you consume sugar when sugar is low. Unfortunately, when you consume sugar, this can cause tooth decay and cavities. Fluoride is a naturally occurring element that can aid in preventing tooth decay by remineralizing the tooth surfaces that have suffered from demineralization.
Yeah, I could definitely see that before bed.
Yeah.
I go to sleep with stuff in my teeth all night.
So here's a little sample menu, and I will be submitting this too along with everything else. But so for breakfast, I just put mixed fruit, oatmeal. So the mixed fruit that would be 1 cup of fruit, oatmeal is 1 ounce of grains, milk is 1 cup of dairy, 2 slices of whole wheat toast, which equals 2 ounces of grains. I'm not gonna I'll just go over the whole thing. So the morning snack would be a granola bar, 1 ounce of grains. Lunch could include a turkey sandwich, so it'd be 2 slices of whole wheat bread, 2 ounces of grains, turkey breast, 3 ounces of protein. The cheese would equal 1 cup of dairy, lettuce, 1 cup of vegetables, and yogurt, 1 cup of dairy. The afternoon snack, you could have an apple. That would equal 1 large apple equals 1 cup of fruit. And dinner would consist of chicken breast, probably be about 3.5 ounces of protein. Whole grain rice would be 2 ounces of grains. A salad would be 1 cup of vegetables. And your evening snack could consist of carrots, and that would be 1 cup vegetable. So the reason why I decided to, I put this all together for you, and the way I did is because if you add these all up, it equals the amount of fruits, vegetables, grains, dairy, the protein. It's what you would need for someone your age. So that's why, yeah. And I can show you.
Carrots for a late night snack.
Yeah. You could always like do another vegetable. I know you like cucumbers. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
green
better.
peppers. Yeah. So this is off choosemyplate.gov. I'm showing you right now what counts as a serving, and I'm turning that into I'm using that as a visual. It's how to, like, this is one ounce of grains, examples of 1 cup of vegetables, and so on and so on. And this will pop up when you get on a Choose My Plate. And then I put a portion control chart up for him, and it's pretty much, it has like the hand symbols. So for example, a fist is 1 cup, and that would be like rice, pasta, fruit, and vegetables. And it even has the calorie counts with them too. And then I'm gonna take you to Choose My Plate. I'm just gonna show you. So when you type in choosemyplate.gov in the search bar, it brings you up to this website. And yeah, so here's fruit, vegetables, and grains, and dairy, and protein. And then I can't figure out how to turn my camera around, but yeah, like here. So what you would do is you would click on fruits and go to learn more. Oh my god, this is so hard to do. Click on that. and it has like what foods are in the food group, how much is needed daily. It gives you all this information. And then here's the daily fruit table. So this is where you would go down, you go to your age, and it tells you what you need daily. And then what counts as a cup of fruit. I really like this. It shows you like what, so like right here, it's where I got like one like large apple. It would count as like 1 cup of fruit, and it has all the fruits. And this is what it is for every single food, for every single food group. You can go back, like you can look up vegetables, grains, dairy. It has everything. It's a really great learning tool.
Nice.
So I recommend checking that out. And I think that is it. I think that's all we got. So I'm going to turn this off. And thank you for taking the time to listen to this. And thank you for watching.
Oh, thanks for the counseling.
Thank you.